Hello friends, I'd like to welcome you all to a very interesting topic on enhanced oil recovery. As you are aware that oil and gas operations are pretty complex, each well itself undergoes several phases during its life cycle, starting with a primary phase whereby the pressure from the reservoir brings the fluid to the surface, followed by a secondary phase whereby the pressure depletes and we need to pressurize the well with either produced water or through pumps. Further reduction in pressure makes the well mature, and there is where we introduce enhanced oil recovery. So as such, I would request you all to stay connected and subscribe to my channel. So friends, the objective of this presentation is to have a holistic approach over oil and gas operations. As you are aware that oil and gas operations involve several multiple disciplines like the surface facilities, the operations and subsurface facilities. Before we move on to different EOR technologies, we need to be conversant with certain terminologies that would help in assimilating the contents of this video. So friends, please excuse me if at some point I am reading through these technicalities. So first we have oil initially in place or condensate or crude initially in place. Then we have reservoir types. We have carbonate type sandstone reservoir, porous, tight clay, and as we are aware of shale reservoir where there is a shale boom in US. Then we have sweep volume efficiency. This is a fraction of the total reservoir contacted by the injection fluid during an enhanced oil recovery. Then there is permeability, which is a measure of the reservoir rock to transmit fluids. This is united in millidarcies. Then we have a mobility of a reservoir, which is basically a ratio of the effective permeability to the phase viscosity. The important factor in a EOR process is the mobility ratio. It is the mobility of an injectant to the fluid it is displacing. Now if this mobility ratio is less than 1, that is the oil is able to travel at the rate of the injectant. So this is very beneficial because the injectant is able to push the oil bank towards the producer well. Now if the mobility ratio is greater than 1, this leads to an injectant moving around the oil because of the high viscous oil, and then it results in slip. If M is supposed to be recommended to be around 0.5 to 1, conversely higher M gives better sweep efficiency but not advisable for high viscous or thick crude. Then there is displacement efficiency, that is fraction of the oil that is swept by the injectant fluid from unit volume of a reservoir. Other important terminologies include GOR, which is gas to oil ratio, SOR, which is steam to oil ratio, CGR, which is condensate to gas ratio, water cut, and BSMW, so basic sediments and water. Now all these above factors along with the crude viscosity, asphalt content, pour point, and availability of injection fluid and its properties are to be factored before selecting the effective EOR. Next we have is well stimulation, that is treatment to restore or enhance the productivity of a well, which is done by hydraulic fracking or fracturing as we call it, using a proppant to maintain permeability and conductive flow path. Then we have matrix stimulation, which is basically acidizing of a well to clear the pore clogging using matrix dissolving fluids such as hydrochloric acid. Next we have horizontal drilling, that is directional drilling, where departure from the well bore from vertical exceeds 80 degrees. Subsequently we have formation kick or blowout, which is a very important phenomenon and that can occur on any control failures during drilling phase, well testing, well completion, production or workover activities. Now you can look out for several blowout videos on YouTube, and I am refraining from attaching them here to avoid copyright issues. So I presume, as I advised, you guys would have checked out the different blowout videos available on YouTube. Now how do we prevent a blowout? This is basically done by a blowout preventer, or BOP as they call it, which is basically an hydraulic actuation of a ram to ensure that we cut off the production tubing. To the right of your presentation you can see a patent drawing of a ram type blowout preventer. So basically this two rams, they tend to shear off the production tubing and contain the reservoir fluid within the reservoir and avoid spillage outside. So the next terminology is a well kill, which is basically done during an onset of a well or during a BOP failure. The well needs to be killed either temporarily or permanently. Killing of temporary well is done by applying kill weight mud to seal, and this well can be reproduced after the pressure control has been established. Then there is permanent killing, whereby we kill the well with cement to abandon the well, and this is done at very high pressure whereby cement is pumped to the downhole. Next, another very effective example of well killing was carried out in 1966 by the Soviet Union in Ultra Bulak, whereby they conducted nuclear explosions to kill its 5 natural gas wells which were burning for several years. Now video for this is also available on YouTube. Next, we have well workovers or wireline operations, which is actually well intervention for maintenance or fracking or acidizing. Then we have well workover fluid, which needs to be compatible with the reservoir fluid and its matrix. Essentially they use brine in most cases. Then we have surface safety valves, which is SSV, that is they contain the well fluid or the well pressure and prevent damaging the downstream facilities, the facilities which are basically downstream of the express tree, that is piping and pipelines, all of those. Then we have subsurface safety valves, SSSV, that is along with the above functions of an SSV, they also contain the environmental spillage and contamination from the well fluid during workover operations, and this is located in the upper well bore.